welcome back to Wrestling Flash. In this WWE and all things wrestling video we are going to look at breaking news. Sasha Banks released by WWE, Vince McMahon having an affair with a superstar. WWE trying to distract fans from the big Vince McMahon news by releasing Sasha Banks according to Twitter. WWE's Charlotte Flair goes to AEW Dynamite, and more. First, let's look at WWE's Charlotte Flair goes to AEW Dynamite. It seems like WWE superstar Charlotte Flair is traveling to St. Louis, Missouri, for the upcoming broadcast of AEW Dynamite. Flair remains a featured star on WWE SmackDown, and she is married to former WWE superstar and current AEW wrestler Andrade El Idolo. Idolo was known as Andrade during his time in WWE. He and Flair tied the knot in May after they previously got engaged on New Year's Eve in 2019. In a recent Twitter post from Andrade, he shared a picture that showed the duo flying on a plane, presumably heading to St. Louis. El Idolo's caption was "Hello, St. Louis." Flair is clearly taking the opportunity to enjoy her leave of absence from WWE to support her husband in his own wrestling endeavors. However, despite Flair's apparent presence at the show, it does not appear as though Andrade is scheduled to compete on tonight's edition of AEW Dynamite. He returned to AEW programming last week as he competed in the Casino Battle Royale. As previously mentioned, Charlotte Flair is on an extended hiatus from her WWE duties. She took time off so she could marry Andrade, and it has not yet been confirmed when she will make her return. In the final act of her most recent in-ring run, she uttered the words "I quit" to Ronda Rousey during their match at WrestleMania Backlash. As a result, Flair lost the SmackDown Women's Champion. The Queen's reign lasted 198 days, and she defeated SmackDown's best and brightest stars during her run at the top. It will be interesting to see what happens when Charlotte Flair comes back to WWE TV. Vince McMahon having an affair with a superstar. Vince McMahon has been a trending topic again after reports emerged stating that the WWE Board of Directors is investigating a secret settlement he allegedly reached with a former employee to cover up an affair. According to the Wall Street Journal, the chairman had agreed to pay $3 million to a former WWE employee who was hired as a paralegal in 2019. The woman was prevented from discussing their relationship due to the separation agreement. According to Fightful Select, the affair between the WWE chairman and the paralegal was suspected by many people within the company. The report also mentions that she was given a big promotion during last April's budget cuts. Fightful was informed that the woman was promoted from John Laurinaity's assistant to a director during that period. The report also noted that WWE Chief Brand Officer Stephanie McMahon, who took a leave of absence several weeks ago, was most likely aware of the investigation along with other board members including Triple H and Nick Khan. The WWE board has also reportedly uncovered other non-disclosure agreements that involve claims of misconduct towards Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis. John Laurinaitis was reappointed as the WWE's head of talent relations last year. Fightful Select provided an insight into the backstage reaction at the time, revealing that the female star had expressed frustration with the move. One talent stated that they'd rather get all their belongings sent to them in a trash bag when they get released than have to deal with Laurinaitis, and neither of the options are good. The report also mentions that people in the company believe that Vince McMahon's power is under serious threat, and that John Laurinaitis could take the fall for him. Sources that Fightful spoke to are expecting John Laurinaitis to be replaced before all is said and done. Stay tuned to Wrestling Flash for the latest information regarding the Vince McMahon investigation as the story unfolds. Sasha Banks fires by WWE. Former multi-time women's champion Sasha Banks has reportedly been released by WWE. The boss has been away from WWE television for a month following her Raw walkout with Naomi. The company soon vacated their women's tag team championship and announced that the two stars would be suspended indefinitely. According to Raj Giri of Wrestling Inc., he has heard that Banks has been released, but he doesn't know if she requested it herself or if it was from the company's end. "I'm hearing Sasha Banks has been released. I don't know if it's he requested it or if it was on WWE's end," reported Raj Giri. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful has now tweeted that his sources hadn't heard of it as of this evening and talent relations didn't seem to know either. However, he did back Raj Giri by stating that he has good sources. "I spoke with Raj this afternoon and asked WWE about this. As of this evening, they said they hadn't heard that, and talent relations didn't seem to know. Not saying that it didn't or isn't happening, but this is what I've heard so far when I asked." Raj has good sources, tweeted Sean Ross Sapp. After making a name for herself on the independent circuit, Banks signed with WWE in 2012. She soon became one of the top stars at NXT, even winning the NXT Women's Championship. She had a memorable feud and some classic matches with Bayley on the brand, still considered by many to be one of the best women's pro wrestling matches of all time. Sasha Banks was called up to the main roster in 2015 alongside Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. These stars brought a revolution, forcing fans to notice women's wrestling and making WWE drop the term diva. During her nearly decade-long WWE career, Sasha Banks became one of the most decorated female superstars in the company's history. She won the Raw Women's Championship 5 times, the SmackDown Women's Championship once, and the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship thrice. She also main evented Night 1 of WrestleMania 37 with Bianca Belair. WWE trying to distract fans from the big Vince McMahon news by releasing Sasha Banks, according to Twitter. Sasha Banks has been in the headlines for a while now, but Wednesday night, Thursday morning brought about one of the worst fears of fans as the star might have been released. There was already a lot of speculation about WWE releasing Banks. The latest report from Raj Giri of Wrestling Inc. and Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful claimed that the popular star had been released from WWE nearly a month after her controversial walkout from Raw with Naomi. Sasha Banks has always been one of WWE's most popular stars since 2016. And it's no surprise that there has been an outpouring of love and support following the new reports. However, some even claim that the news broke to distract fans from the ongoing controversies surrounding Vince McMahon. As of this writing, it's unknown whether Sasha Banks personally asked for her reported WWE release or if the company made the decision. Either way, it seems evident that the two parties have not been on good terms. Unfortunately, the story behind what happened is unlikely to emerge for a while, as there have been differing accounts and sometimes contradictory reports. Until we hear the actual side of the story from Banks, much of it will remain rumors and speculation. Either way, there's no doubt that Banks is one of the greatest female talents to ever step foot inside a WWE ring. The boss has often been referred to as the best in-ring competitor among the 4 horsewomen. Even if she never returns to WWE, her accolades in the company are Hall of Fame worthy. WWE sends message to staff about Vince McMahon allegations. WWE has sent a message to its staff about Vince McMahon and the company's board investigating a situation involving the chairman and CEO. Earlier today, the Wall Street Journal reported that McMahon had agreed to pay $3 million to a former WWE employee that he is alleged to have had an affair with. The agreement prevented the woman from discussing Vince and their relationship. Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics has now reported that WWE sent out an internal statement to staff regarding the ongoing situation. The Wall Street Journal has published a report about WWE with allegations that we and our board of directors take seriously. We are cooperating fully with the independent investigation initiated by our board of directors. WWE's board of directors has launched an investigation into a settlement agreement reached in January between Mr. McMahon and a former employee hired as a paralegal in 2019. The investigation reportedly began in April, with more non-disclosure agreements being discovered in regards to Vince McMahon and WWE head of talent relations John Laurinaitis. The preliminary findings are that McMahon used personal funds to reach an agreement with the former employee. WWE's board only learned of the payments following anonymous emails from someone claiming to be a friend of the woman in the alleged affair. One note in the emails claims that Vince increased the female employee's salary from $100,000 to $200,000 after the sexual relationship began, and eventually gave her like a toy to John Laurinaitis. A spokesperson for WWE told the Wall Street Journal that the company is fully cooperating with the board's investigation and claimed that the relationship between McMahon and the former employee was consensual.